Hi, I'm Dr. Keith Volstad.
And I'm Laura McLeod Volstad of Volstad Chiropractic and Integrated Wellness. We are located at 275 Tony Penna Drive, Suite 12, right here in Jupiter. And our telephone number is 746-4242. We'd like to welcome you to this week's edition of the Chiropractic Corner, a weekly show spotlighting the chiropractic profession and what doctors of chiropractic do to improve their patients' health. In this program, Dr. Volstad and I plan to cover topics that pertain to your health from a complementary and alternative medicine point of view. These topics will include spinal injury issues like neck pain, low back pain, bulging discs, pinched nerves, and sports injuries, lifestyle medicine, dietary and nutritional advice, nutraceuticals, and supplementation, just to name a few. We'd like to encourage you to email us about topics that you'd like to hear discussed on this program. You can do that by emailing us at imchiro1, the number 1, at gmail.com. That's M as in Mary, CHIRO, the number 1, at gmail.com. Doc, I've noticed that a lot of our patients are golfers. They've come in with especially low back pain, but also have other injuries as well. It seems that swinging that golf club can be a rather damaging event. Since we have so many golfers in our area, I thought it would be interesting to do a show dedicated to golf and the injuries that can occur due to playing. Just a few interesting bits of trivia first. Did you know that Palm Beach County has more golf courses than any other county in the state and is known as Florida's golf capital?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, according to golf.com, Palm Beach County has around 140 different golf courses, a lot to choose from. In fact, the movie Caddyshack was filmed at a golf course right here in Palm Beach County that was called Rolling Hills and is now called Grand Oaks.
That was a great movie with Bill Murray and the little squirrel. I loved that movie.
That was a good one. And according to Palm Beach County Golf Economy Report, while I'm stating my facts, in 2007, the amount of Palm Beach County's direct golf economy was approximately $925.4 million.
That's a heck of a business. I'd love to be in that business,
I
guess.
know. That's kissing that big B mark. They're just about to the billion mark there. So needless to say, golf is huge in Palm Beach County. So today, we'd like to welcome to our show a former PGA golf professional who's competed in many amateur, professional, and PGA events. Frank was the Broward County Amateur Champion in 1970. I'm giving your age away, aren't I, Frank? Sorry about that. And he's won over 60 professional and amateur golf tournaments. One of Frank's course records is right here in Palm Beach, having shot a 62, an honest 62, Frank, at Cypress Creek Country Club. I'm certain it was. Would you please welcome to the show Frank Coughanour, a man who's no stranger to good golf and chiropractic care. Welcome, Frank.
Thank you, Laura. I'm glad to be here.
Before we start talking about the effect chiropractic has had in your life as a golfer, why don't you tell us just a little bit about yourself? I'm sure our listeners would love to hear what it's like to be a pro golfer on the tour.
Well, Laura, despite the miles, I'm proud to say I'm a spry 65 years old.
And looking fine, Frank.
Oh, thank you.
Just don't look a day over 30.
I have been active and involved in sports all my life. I went to college locally at Florida Atlantic University, where I competed collegiately in handball, racquetball, volleyball, and
Racquetball?
Yeah, racquetball. You play?
I have played before, yes,
Well,
long time ago.
What are you doing tomorrow?
He's working.
Well, at Florida Atlantic University, I was on the FAU golf team, and most of the members of my team went on to become PGA professionals. For a smaller school back then, we got some national notoriety when we beat the likes of University of Florida and FSU.
Wow.
We had 3 All-Americans on my team and the teams that I coached. So I'm a proud burrowing owl. Now, FAU back then was a sanctuary for burrowing owls, so they now call themselves the Fighting Owls, which is for good reason. Anyway,
I didn't know that.
I was also the assistant athletic director while being the FAU coach during my graduate studies. I became a PGA professional, and I worked at Linville Country Club in North Carolina and Boca Del Mar back when Texaco owned it, and that was quite a while ago. As a playing professional, I won over 30 tournaments in the 70s, local and PGA sectional, and I played the Caribbean Tour and the Canadian Tour. Now, Keith, you know very well that I have scoliosis. You might want to...
You're right,
Tell 'em about
scoliosis. For those of you that may want to know, scoliosis is the curvature of the spine that can cause serious joint and nerve impingement. It can also cause tendon and muscle irritations, and some of these things can result in some pretty serious back pain.
I am a testament to that. Yes, you're right. It did plague me as a player. And in one tournament, I actually had to be adjusted by a chiropractor every morning before I could play.
Oh, wow.
Now, I played gingerly and was lucky enough to actually win the PGA Sugar Mill Open in Daytona Beach. Now, my chiropractic doctor was calling me for months asking me for his share of the winnings.
Oh, yeah, he probably wanted his cut, didn't he? You have to pay the caddy, well, you also have to pay the doctor.
Well, you know that old saying, beware the wounded warrior? Swinging easy actually helped me in that tournament. So
I imagine so. That's right. Slows down the swing.
After it's all said and done, my bad back and my bad putting is what took me away from competitive golf. I couldn't practice putting for more than 10, 15 minutes without really developing serious back pain. Now, back in those days, they didn't have the long putter or the belly putter.
Oh, yeah, of course. You've seen those here more recently. They place the head of the putter, the shaft of the putter on their chest, I guess, or something along that line.
Not starting next year with the PGA. We amateurs now, we get a reprieve until the year after that.
Oh, so the pros can't use that anymore.
Nope, no, starting next year.
Well, I can say those belly putters really worked for you. I can remember playing around with you where you one-putted 7 of the last 9 holes.
Wow.
And most of those putts were more than 15-footers. It was amazing, and I remember you earned the nickname Drano.
I remember the day. Look, you caught me on a really good day, and you don't measure very well, but that's okay. But the funny thing is, the next time I played, the hole looked like a midget's thimble. I mean, go figure. Walter Higgins said it best. You just borrow the game for a while, then you give it back. But that was fun.
It was. It was.
As I left the professional competition, I was fortunate to go to work for Jack Nicklaus and Golden Bear. I was the public relations director, and I helped organize and run the golf tournaments for the ophthalmic customers and the distributors of Jack Nicklaus Eyewear. I gave clinics and lessons, traveled, and had a great time, and really enjoyed those years.
I imagine that would be a lot of fun, being involved in all those tournaments and being able to travel. Now, did you travel across the country for this?
I did. Across actually the U.S. and Canada, and I ended up over in the Far East.
Wow, that would have been an exciting time and an exciting thing to do.
It was fun. It was fun. I live now in North Palm Beach with my beautiful wife, Gail. We have 6 children between us and 2 grandkids right now. So we're truly blessed. Yes,
it sounds like you've had a blessed life, and I can tell you it seemed like you were blessed that time we played golf and you were hitting 7 out of 9 one-putts.
That's why he's the professional.
Well, you certainly have had an interesting and successful career as a professional golfer. So let's talk a little bit about your back. How did golf aggravate your back pain and other injuries, if there were specific other injuries? Can you remember a specific event that maybe caused your back to really become an issue? And how did you come to decide to utilize chiropractic, and how has that helped your pain and your career as a golfer? I know those are a lot of questions, but I'll try and help you remember it since you're 65, my friend.
Thank you so much. Well, besides the scoliosis we talked about, Keith, I did have C5 and 6 on my neck, had to be fused because of an accident. It wasn't golf. But let's just say the golf swing has many physical components that are not movements that are consistent with every normal day routines. It's muscles we don't always use very often. So twisting while holding your head steady and unwinding, starting the feet and the legs, creating torque throughout your body from toes to your head is tough on untrained muscles and joints, especially if you occasionally have that swing that kind of looks like a ballet dancer being electrocuted as she jumps,
I've done
and if
that.
if you have a lot of those swings, go find a PGA pro and get some fundamental lessons.
No, I've been the ballet dancer on
Oh, the ballet dancer?
Yeah, that was
really?
me.
But you weren't executed, I hope.
No,
Or
no.
electrocuted.
Oh, maybe
okay.
that's what's wrong with me.
The big thought there is don't swing too hard. All the pros that I played with would all pretty much say to ourselves and each other is never swing more than about 75% unless you have to.
I could imagine, in having played golf myself, you're right. You swing too hard or overswing, that can really, really create some torque and then end up damaging the muscles, etc., in your back.
Especially with the ballerina swing. That's right. Julius Boros, 3-time PGA Major Championship winner, wrote a book called Swing Easy, Hit Hard. Most players, especially seniors, would benefit from reading that book. And it's a good message. It's a good message.
I'll have to see if I can find that one as I'm approaching the senior status.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Keith,
So,
you're approaching? Oh, yeah. That's right. You had a birthday,
be nice,
didn't you?
be nice.
I'm having a birthday coming this
Saturday.
weekend.
Really?
I'll be
Actually, it's
60
today.
years.
Say what?
60 years old. That's right. Saturday.
Actually
It's
said-
actually today.
Well,
Yeah.
60
I'm
years
not
old.
being solicitous, but you've aged pretty well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's that platinum blonde. Yeah. And
Keith,
what was the name of that book again, Frank?
It's called Swing Easy, Hit Hard
Oh, okay.
by Julius Boros.
Boros.
He lived right down here in Fort
B-O-R-O-S.
Lauderdale. I played with his kids in
Oh.
high school.
Hmm.
Something I would like to suggest to your golfing listeners. Now, I think we can all agree that tension and stress can quickly become a part of any competitive activity, especially in golf. When your neck and your shoulders muscles tighten up, you can't turn or swing well.
Mm-hmm.
And your tempo gets quicker when you get tight. Tension breeds quickness. Okay? It's not
Mhm.
good for the golf swing. Learning how to stay calm, for instance, with your breathing can help. If you take long and slower breaths, it can slow your heart rate and helps to shake off the tension before it takes hold. Shrug your shoulders as you're getting in and out of the cart. Anything to keep the muscles relaxed, supple, and flexible.
Is that before or after you throw that club in the lake?
Well, the muscles used to throw that club, I wouldn't suggest you
Yeah.
do that because you might hyperextend a muscle and affect your golf game. So
There you
it
go.
also is very expensive to replace those clubs nowadays.
That's right. The adrenaline rush that goes with it has a.
As much as you want to sometimes. Now, I also use hypnotic meditation to relax, and it only took less than a minute to do so. And there was a psychologist that worked with Tom Watson that taught it to me. So that worked for me.
Huh. Can you tell us how you do that?
Sure. In less than a minute? Yeah.
Sure.
Pretty simple. What you do is if you're in contention in a golf tournament or any event, you tend to get tense. And just like I said, tension breeds quickness. And you
Right.
don't want to be quick with any movements. You want to be smooth and fluid. It kind of goes like this. Very simple. Take a deep breath. Exhale. Take another deeper breath and hold it. And you close your eyes and think you're looking at a well in a black, black place. You let the air out of your mouth very, very slowly between your lips. And you see golden bright numbers falling down from 1 to 30. Start with 1. You see it fall into the well and go down and disappear. All the way to 30. In a matter of less than a minute, you're relaxed because you've kind of detached yourself from your environment. You don't have the emotional stress that you had just a moment ago. And you're more relaxed to do whatever you need to do. That has helped me greatly in golf when you're coming down the home stretch and the tension's pretty tight. I did that, and it helped.
I was just kind of practicing that while you were saying that. You were taking me there, and it just breaks your train of thought for wherever you were before. You're on
Yeah.
another
And I guess
plane.
that would be an interesting thing to try in any of life's stressful circumstances, not just the golf course.
Absolutely.
That's kind of what I tell everybody in the office when I take their blood pressure. Just close your eyes, deep breathing, brings it down, like, a
It
few
does.
points. It works every
does,
time.
It does. You're right.
Well, Frank, how did you come to decide to utilize chiropractic care?
Well, Keith, my introduction to chiropractic was actually through my father. He was blown off a gun mount on the destroyer USS Guest during World War II and fell
Wow.
about 2 stories onto the deck, rupturing several vertebrae in his back. which caused pain all of his life.
Well, that's interesting. Your dad fought in the was in the Navy during World War II, as was my dad.
And
my
mine.
dad was on the USS Zellers in the South Pacific, so we have something in common there. That's interesting.
Well, they were in different venues. Dad was in the North Atlantic,
Oh,
but
burr.
My dad was in South Pacific.
Wow,
Yeah.
we got some history between us.
Well, there
That's
you go.
right.
Well, when my dad went to the hospital shortly after his injury, the sailor next to him had the same issues, and they were going to fuse the damaged vertebrae.
Right.
He left for surgery and didn't come back.
Uh-oh.
He died on the operating table.
Oh, my.
When they came to get my dad said no.
I don't think so.
And because
I think that's
he
a wise
denied
decision.
them the chance to do what they do, and he wouldn't do it, he lost his medical compensation from the government for his injury.
Well, I guess he traded the money for his life, it seems.
Well, at that time, I think he probably made the right decision based upon what he saw and heard. Now, chiropractic treatment allowed him to deal with and sometimes overcome the pain he had. And when I was a young kid, I remember him going to the chiropractor every week. And so he'd have good days and bad days. But he still played golf, and he continued to work despite the discomfort his entire
Wow, he
life.
continued to play golf after all that? Wow.
Yeah, Dad was a...
Determined.
He won the Lake Worth Men's Golf Association tournament, and you thought he won the Masters.
Wow.
In later years,
It was
too.
for him.
So, also while playing on the PGA Winter Tour, one of my close friends, Dr. Vincent Sereno, let me stay on his farm in Delray when I wasn't traveling. His daughter Bonnie came back to the family farm, and having just graduated from Palmer College of Chiropractic in Iowa. Her input into my regimen for muscle and pain management and overall health was remarkable. She taught me Nemo and the prime meridians. I know where they are on my body, the pressure points that will relax the muscles and increase the blood flow. That really did help me. Between that and my dad's experience, Geetha, I have a deep and abiding respect for your profession, and I'm glad I'm under your care. Now, my situation with my back and what the game of golf demands of your body requires an exercise regimen that included daily stretching exercises, some weight training, jogging and bicycling, and a healthy diet and nutrition that supported my muscle development, tendon, and joint maintenance, especially during the years I played competitively.
Tell us a little bit about your regimen, if you would, Frank, because some of our patients ask us that very question. So maybe you can tell us about what you do and maybe help some of our listeners. For instance, how long do you do your workout, and how much weight training do you do? And can you describe that training for us? And what kinds of nutrition and what dietary protocols did you follow? And have I asked you enough questions yet? Sorry.
Okay, well,
Go.
let me say that back in the day when I played, I did jog 1.5 to 2 miles 3 times a week, weight training every other day. I did lighter weight and high reps, and it worked well for me. I did exercises that focused on my flexibility. Today, with the high-tech training of the Rory McIlroys and the Tigers, it seems to involve heavier weight training, and they have cutting-edge nutrition, vitamin, mineral intake based on current science and chemistry that we had less of in my day. But, someone like Keith or anybody that is familiar with the muscles and what they need and what they consume and what demands the body has for what, that's something that a good doctor or someone like Keith can provide informationally, more today than ever before. Now, Jack Nicklaus had it right when he said, professional golfers condition to play golf. Amateur golfers play golf to condition. Now, according to Golf Digest, and I read this some time ago, 62% of amateurs will sustain a significant golf injury, typically, because they're out of shape, they have poor swing mechanics, like the ballerina, and don't warm up adequately. And that last part is really important.
I will say that sometimes when I've been asked that question by my patients, the one little tip I'll give them is when you're warming up, make sure you swing the club both directions. Just don't swing it as a right-hander but swing it as a right-hander and a left-hander because that really will improve the flexibility of your spine.
And extend the club out so your circumference of the swing becomes bigger. And the bigger the circumference of the swing, the faster the club moves.
Okay.
And Frank, what was that percentage again of amateur golfers? How many?
62% will sustain significant golf injuries.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Now, for the pros, this will really throw you. The number's even higher,
Really?
85%.
Whoa.
But their injuries come from hitting hundreds and hundreds of golf balls every day,
Yeah.
and they're in shape.
So even
So-
with all that conditioning.
That's correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's where we come in. We have quite a few patients that have hurt themselves playing golf. And we talk about stretching and conditioning with them so as to help reduce the risk of injury. But unfortunately, the consequence of playing is that injury will tend to occur.
Keith, I know you'll agree, and you just said this, and warming up the muscles and the tendons by simply stretching and introducing the joints gently to their full range of motion can help prevent much of the pain people get from golf. All professionals in just about any sport do just that in preparation to compete.
It is very, very important. You're right.
Now, a great story I heard when I was at the Florida Open many years ago that supports the fact that professional golfers are athletes involved Bob Murphy. You may remember him.
I do.
Now, Bob was an admittedly rotund guy. He had a belly on him. He had completed play and was walking with a Budweiser lodged in his Bermuda shorts, and a young athletic guy looked at Murph and said, "You're a slob, not an athlete." To which Murph replied, "I'll bet you $100 I'm more athletic than you are." The young man replied, "You're on." So a bunch of us went into the locker room. Murph said, "Simply do what I do, and I'll give you my $100. He laid on the floor, arched his back, and did a full kip to a standing position.
What's a kip? Like when you lay down and you stand
You
up
lay
on
down and you stand up with your own momentum.
your... Okay. All right.
Wow.
Whoa. Well, the athletic young guy lay down and flopped around like a fish for about 10 minutes and gave Murph his $100 bill, which Murph wouldn't take, which is pretty cool.
That's interesting, Frank, that, even a guy like Bob Murphy, who was a bit overweight, could do something like that. I think that does demonstrate how much of an athlete you have to be a professional golfer.
Yes, and all the pros will tell you your legs are critical. Jack Nicklaus, strong legs.
Okay.
Worked out. I saw his gym in his garage. He worked out every day. And one nice comment that I'll make, because Jack mentioned it to me, when you do things vertically like swimming, the muscles are going vertically from toe to head. The golf swing goes the other way. Golfers should avoid doing things that make them stretch vertically.
Okay.
Okay?
Because
Because that curbed his tennis. He loved to play tennis.
I understand that Jack is actually a very good tennis player. He excelled not only in golf, but also in tennis.
Absolutely.
And now for our tip of the week. Since our guest is a professional golfer, how about a tip for our golfers, Frank?
Okay. Well, Keith, I'm going to start with something that I told you the last time we played golf. Turning the upper body can be a physical challenge for some golfers. Too many seem to feel as though they won't get back to the ball. Now, a good swing thought is turn more, swing less. When your body stops turning back, your arms should stop swinging.
Okay.
Think of swinging your arms with your turn, not the muscles in your shoulder. Because if you turn the shoulder so far and continue with the arms and the hands, what happens, it puts a strain on the shoulder muscles and tendons.
Okay.
And can hurt you. For general good golf health, keep your legs strong, or make them strong if they're not now, as strong as possible, and stretch every single morning of your life.
Now, break here, because I haven't played golf in umpty-dump years. Why do your legs have to be strong? How come? Don't you ride in a golf cart to and fro?
The reason the legs are so important, and yes, you can get some activity and strength by just walking a golf course, ride as little as possible. That'll help. But the fact is the golf swing, your body's like a big piece of rubber that you're rotating to build up, like a rubber band that you wind up and release it. Okay. Well, if the legs are weak and floppy, guess what? That part of the body doesn't wind up tight, and you don't get the direction or the centrifugal force to hit the golf ball very far at all. So the legs are important to try and keep them in shape and do the best you can.
Okay.
What would you say to someone, though, who's a little bit older and maybe just doesn't have the leg strength or doesn't have the desire to go into the gym and try and build up their legs? What would you advise them to do to try and get as strong a leg circumstance as they could?
Good question, Keith. And I have taught a lot of older players and people, and I even suggest go to the pool and just sit there and kick your legs hanging onto the wall for a while. Helps a great deal. So
That's a good idea.
while you think it's not much, anything you can do to make your legs a little stronger and to keep your body flexible by stretching is good. And another thing that I've done to keep myself in good health is to find a good chiropractor. And also, if you're having a little trouble with your golf game, find a good PGA pro. I've had recently horrific hip, back, joint, and muscle pains associated not only with the scoliosis, but from medical procedures that brought on discomfort that was nothing short of debilitating. I couldn't play golf. And I couldn't dance.
Ooh, dance. That would be tragic.
Gail and I, salsa, merengue, bachata.
Wow.
You'll see us down on Atlantic Avenue now.
Yep, from all those classes you guys took. I think
We did.
we did those too, and I think there may be some more in your future, Doc.
Oh, thanks a lot,
Hey,
Frank.
Doc, you got racquetball and salsa to look forward to.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
Thanks, Frank. That check will be in the mail. Here.
yes. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Okay, let's see if I can dance my way out of that one. Let's move on. We would like to thank our guest, Frank Coughanour, for sharing a bit about his life as a professional golfer and about how chiropractic has helped him with his back pain and to help him continue to play golf as well as to continue to dance. Having played a few rounds with you, Frank, I can say you haven't lost your touch. Your game is as good as I've seen, that's for sure.
Thank you, Keith. But you don't get out much, do you?
Well, that about wraps it up for another edition of the Chiropractic Corner. Again, thank you for joining us and for all of your input. Dr. Volstad and I would like to thank you for listening, and don't forget to let us know what questions you may have for Doc or topics you'd like to learn more about by emailing us at I-M as in Mary, CHIRO, the number 1, at gmail.com, or by calling our office at 746-4242. We're located at 275 Tony Penna Drive, Suite 12, right here in Jupiter. We'd love to hear from you. Google Volstad Chiropractic to find our website for more information about our office or to listen to archived programs from the Chiropractic Corner. And coming soon, our show bloopers. For those on Facebook, please search and find our Facebook page and give us a like. We post a lot of information about healthcare and natural remedies that you can use at home. Join us next weekend for another edition of the Chiropractic Corner, right here on WJUP The Jupe, 103.9 FM, Saturday and Sunday mornings right after the 10:30 a.m. news. Until then, be well, live well. We'll see you next week.